Coming up in the news, the port president weighing in on Grand Bahamas investment climate. Also, history made in the Freeport City Council. And tonight, a survivor of domestic violence speak out in a special 3-part series. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shashina Rowe-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news tonight, it is becoming a topic of heated debate in many quarters. Is the state of investor confidence on Grand Bahama? Some have inquired if Freeport has lost its magic. Well, that is the question we put to the president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority today. He is adamant, though, that investor confidence remains intact. Here's Jamila Mizik.
Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, during his most recent visit to Grand Bahama, expressing concern that investor confidence has waned on the island, and it is a statement to which the president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, strongly disagrees.
We have Carnival still very, very interested in Grand Bahama, and they have been waiting for certain permits, etc., for a while, at least 2 years now, and they're still committed to the island. So I'm hoping that we all can work together to bring swift resolution to the Carnival transaction. Then we have Doctors Hospital making a presence in Grand Bahama. We have 2 solar companies, or solar entities wanting to do business in Grand Bahama. Royal Caribbean and ITM Group, although they may not be involved in the hotel, they still are trying to conclude a deal with the harbor company.
Roll adding that there is quite a number of various interests on the island right now.
Margaritaville, they have joined forces with Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line, and they are eager to start their first Margaritaville cruise to Grand Bahama. In fact, I would have toured the CEO and other executives last year before the announcement was made regarding the partnership with Bahamas Cruise Line, and they're interested in more things on this island. Then we're also speaking with a partner who's very interested in the Port Lacaille, the old Port Lacaille Resort site, and also someone very interested in the marina. We have the Weller Group that's interested in developing the 35 acres they purchased from the Marriott Group, and they want to build a very high-end property on the island of Grand Bahama.
He says Bahamian groups are also looking to invest in Grand Bahama Island as well, adding that the GBPA was also recently applauded by Western Atlantic University, one of the newest developments on the island as it relates to the time it takes for the port to approve permits. Now, Prime Minister Davis also admitting that potential investors he met with during his Dubai trip were eager to invest in the Bahamas but not Grand Bahama, noting that some persons came to Grand Bahama to look at projects but were not convinced to invest. Well, to that, Roll had this response.
We're not aware of it. Back when I heard about this story, I also reached out to a very senior member of the previous administration just to ask if he was aware of persons from Dubai traveling to Freeport and then leaving because they're not interested in Grand Bahama anymore. And the answer was he was also not aware of persons from Dubai coming here to invest. But I can say this, we are open to embrace whomever the investor is and work with the government. And also, the person obviously was here if the Prime Minister said it, right? So we need to understand what the real issue is.
Now, ahead of agreement for the long-awaited $100 million Carnival Cruise Port project was signed back in 2019. However, that project has since received some delays. Roll explains the port's position in the matter.
The Port Authority has a rule in regards to granting permits for land-based operations. We don't control the water-based permits. Carnival wants, in order to start and break ground, they want to know that they approve in its entirety. All the permits have been approved. We, the Port Authority, we approved the permits 2 years ago. So I think Carnival I think they're making some traction now, but it's been 2 years in waiting for the necessary permit so they can get going. But I think they're moving forward now.
Roll admitting that the Carnival project alone can create significant stimulus in the economy of Grants Bahama, and he believes it is very important that they work together to close that transaction swiftly. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Well, a decision has been made regarding the way forward for the Preclearance facility at the Grand Bahama International Airport. Preclearance was suspended since the local airport was destroyed during Hurricane Dorian in 2019. During the House of Assembly proceedings today, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, gave this update.
We have recently been informed by the U.S. government that given the ongoing indefinite suspension of preclearance services at Grand Bahama International Airport and the slow state of the reconstruction of the airport, that the U.S. government has initiated a process to cease preclearance operations at the Grand Bahama International Airport. Our partners, the U.S. government, has assured us that it remains committed to the agreement between the government of the United States of America and the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas on preclearance entered in 1974. The U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol have advised us that they look forward to upcoming preclearance consultative group meetings as an opportunity to further enhance our successful collaboration in facilitating and securing travels between our countries.
Meanwhile, he says the government will begin the remedial work at the airport.
These works will include the reinstallation of generators to ensure that recent incidences of lengthy delays at night that have been endured by our residents in Grand Bahama will not recur. And, Madam Speaker, we will be investing in elevators immediately to ensure that our Bahamian citizens who work at the tower will be able to access their workspace more efficiently.
Now, Minister Cooper says priority will be given to building a world-class airport in Grand Bahama as this northern island is moved back to a state of prominence. While almost 1 week following local government elections, the candidates elected to head the Freeport City Council took the official oath of office. The historic swearing-in ceremony taking place this morning, and our Ramiko Knowles was there.
For the first time in history, the City of Freeport District Council's office has 2 women at the helm. The Chief and Deputy Chief Councilors were elected shortly after the District Council members took the oath of office and received their pins. Educator Frazette Gibson was elected as the new Chief Councilor. She says she is both humbled and elated.
I wish, therefore, to first of all say a heartfelt thank you to the Almighty God, the awesome residents of Central Grand Bahama, who saw it fit to return me to office and re-elect me for the 3rd time as their representative. Secondly, I say congratulations to my colleagues who were also elected to serve with me on this council. Please know that I am thankful. This confidence that you've placed and shown in me by selecting me to be your Chief Councilor.
During the 3-year term, Gibson promises to do all that she can to be worthy of the appointment.
Allow me, in conclusion, to paraphrase the words of the great statesman, John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your city can do for you. Ask what you can do for your city. I'm sure that you all will agree with me that our councilors, as we are gathered here today, in response to that question, as we serve, each of us must continue to search ourselves in asking, what can we do for our beloved city of Freeport.
Making the occasion historic, Dr. Charlene Reed Morris was elected as the Deputy Chief Counselor. She says it indeed is a noteworthy day.
I'm very happy that I've been appointed. I think this is history that we're making as 2 women are in leadership positions. And I'll say that we are Grand Bahama strong, and we need our team to do all of the things that we hope to do this go around.
She tells us what she expects from council members.
I expect their support. I know that all of them are community minded. They put themselves forward because they want to serve. And I know that nothing can be accomplished if we don't work together. And I expect that from all of them because they have the heart.
Administrator at the East Grand Bahama office, Gregory Knowles, addressing council members on leadership skills and what it means to serve.
True leadership is an attitude that naturally inspires and motivates others, and it comes from an internalized discovery about yourself. The shortest distance to leadership is service. Please remember that. Leadership is not about control, but service.
The swearing-in ceremony taking place at the administrative office in Freeport. Rumiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Now, over on the island of Abaco, newly elected local government practitioners also being sworn in this week. Senior Deputy Family Island Administrator for the North Abaco District, Therese Boodle, giving our ZNS News team an update on how those elections went on January 27th.
Undertake elections into polling division number 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And town committee members were elected for each of those respective polling divisions. That will be in Little Abaco, Cooperstown, and Treasure Key. Not sufficient persons were nominated in Greenhill Key to go to election, so there needs to be appointment. And polling division number 2, there were 5 candidates that came forward, and that was the required number, so there was no election in PD number 2.
The elected township members were sworn in yesterday, and they elected their respective chairperson and councilors for the district. Now, tomorrow, the North Abaco District Council will be sworn in, where they will select a chief and deputy chief councilor, and early next week, they will swear in the district councilors on Grand Key. Boodle says they will continue to push for persons to really appreciate the importance of local government on the island.
We were happy to see young people elected, and they bring a fresh wind of vision to the table. And so we're happy to see that they stepped forward and made themselves available, and that communities, even though the voter turnout was low, those who did show up remain excited about local government because they were able to clearly see how impactful local government was during our recovery effort. An immediate aftermath, local government practitioners were on the ground and doing their best to make sure that Abaco was able to move forward. And so that is what we want to continue to see, so that the institution itself does not die and become irrelevant, because for Family Islanders, we know that how relevant it is to have practitioners around the table advocating and speaking up for the needs of these various communities.
Well, a new executive board elected to govern the Grand Bahama Christian Council. We have the details. A new executive board elected to govern the affairs of the Grand Bahama Christian Council for the next 2 years. Elections were held last evening at Calvary Temple on Clive Avenue. Pastor of St. Paul's Methodist Church, Reverend Kenneth Lewis, was elected unanimously as the new president of the Grand Bahama Christian Council. Reverend Dr. Elvis Burrows was re-elected as first vice president. Apostle Rita Stewart is the second vice president, and this is the first time a woman was elected to serve in that position. And Pastor Nelson Bain was returned as treasurer. Minister Mary Russell will now serve the Commission on Schools and Hospital Outreach. Bishop Kermit Saunders will lead the Commission on Church and Community. Pastor Conrad Jones heads the Commission on Broadcasting, and Pastor LaQuaz Williams is responsible for the Commission on Youth and Christian Action. In news from the crime beat, police are reporting that wanted suspect Reginald Wood is now in custody. The 31-year-old of Paradise Lane was arrested by a team of DEU officers in the Midshipman Road area yesterday. Wood was wanted for questioning on armed robbery charges. A bulletin was issued for his arrest 2 weeks ago. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.